Good morning, everyone. It's Melody Reels at the Iowa Quilt Museum here in Winterset, Iowa, and it's 9 a.m. on a Thursday morning. Today is August, I really don't know. I think it's the 7th. It's just been kind of a little crazy. Woo-hoo. But anyway, because we had an exhibit change, as you can tell. We did a little morning coffee to kind of open up the exhibit on Tuesday. Just a lot going on. And so I thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. I want to introduce you to Julie Silber this morning. She is our new curator of this current exhibit. We had to say goodbye to Tiny Pieces, Vast Visions and mail those away. And we did a 180 from the abstract quilt art, modern quilts to traditional two-colored quilts. So, we try to hit every avenue of quilting because there is such a variety under the umbrella of quilting. But like I said, I want to introduce you to Julie Silber. She is out of, I believe, Berkeley, California. I just stole some of this stuff off of her website and her LinkedIn. But she provides an exceptional range of quilt-related services to museums, collectors, dealers, individuals, and quilt guilds. She specializes in buying, selling, and praising antique quilts made between 1780, get out, and 1950. There can't be a lot from 1780, is there? We also offer antique quilt exhibition packages and museums and quilt events. I'm trying to find where she talks more about herself and her experience, but I just haven't found any. She is going to visit us in September, so maybe I can find out more from her about just her background and how she got started. It says she is one of the most respected quilt experts. She has been selling antique quilts to museums, businesses, and individuals since 1968. Julie is a curator of the world-renowned Esprit Quilt Collection in San Francisco, and is the co-author of the critically acclaimed book, Hearts and Hands and Amish, a quilt art, the art of the quilt. She has curated two of the most respected quilt exhibitions of modern times, those at the Oakland Museum and the Fine Art Museums of San Francisco. She does have a BA in American History at the University of Michigan. So I'm guessing if these are, so my glasses have a spot on them, I apologize. So if these are quilts she provided, that was her mother's collection. So this is Mama's Got the Blues. I should probably tell you the title of our exhibit, right? Mama's Got the Blues is the title of this exhibit, and it's indigo blue and white, early 19th century quilts. So she did give me a little write-up about this exhibit, so I'm gonna read this and then we'll feature two quilts this morning. Indigo and white quilts were exceptionally popular with 19th century quilt makers and will remain a favorite among collectors to this day. One of the oldest natural dyes used for coloring fabric, indigo has long been revered for its color, fast quality, and wide range blues hues it can produce. Even after the dye was synthesized in 1879, indigo retained those qualities, and its popularity among quilt makers all over America never waned. Women frequently set indigo blues with solid white and dramatic combination with wide appeal. My mom, Mary, M-E-R-R-Y, it's the second Mary I met that's spelled that way. Mary Silber, an artist herself and an enthusiastic collector of many kinds of antique American quilts, had a special place in her heart and eyes for the classic blue and white combination. Her collection of 30 or so of these quilts is now in my loving hands. I've enjoyed adding a few examples to this group of the last few years, making the collection a kind of family affair. Out of that growing collection, I have chosen 22 examples to share with you here, and I hope that you will enjoy them and perhaps even be inspired. So I'm gonna feature a quilt that was already in her mother's collection and then a quilt she added to the collection. So I'm gonna flip you around. Boop, beep, boop. It doesn't have a title, it's an unknown design. The dimensions are 70 by 90 inches. Time period circa 1860. 1860, everybody. That's crazy. Look at the color on this quilt for being 150 plus years old. That's insane. That's crazy. Okay, my mom collected almost all these quilts in this exhibit. Now that I have them, I added a few that I could simply not resist. I feel confident that Mary would, oh wait. Nope, this is it. Would approve. This design is very akin to the early blue and white woven coverlets. They are clearly related. From the distance, this could easily be mistaken for one applique design on the borders of a piece quilt, or a characteristic of the New York quilts. So maybe this is one that she picked up and that was original collection. Well, now I'm kind of bummed out. So you might have to, I might be showing two that Mary had, or that Julie added to this exhibit. Wow. So let's I'm going to take you off and we're going to take a closer look. I'm going to get my little gloves on. You traditional quilters out there and traditional quilt lovers are going to really love this exhibit. And so let's just take a closer look at the tiny little, look how tiny, I wish you could tell how tiny, look at this is my thumb. This is my pinky. Look how tiny that square is. We got little wonky ones in here, little rectangles. So tiny. And the detail in the quilting. Taking the time to make a little flower here. Taking the time to add these details in here. Taking the time, when I feel quilts were more utilitarian, to be able to express it to do as an art and take the time and say, you know what, I'm not just gonna quilt it, I'm gonna add some little leaves and some little flowers and just make it really pretty. And this sweet little print in here. You've got some rectangles, you've got squares, big, little, with these little florets here. And just the way it has maintained its shape, because there are some in here, the best we could do was make sure that it was straight, it was level from the top, horizontal, and then it hung the way it hung. But you've got little starbursts, and you've got what looks like little hearts right here. I love this too. This makes me think of a sienna type, where you would lay the sienna dye, onto some paper and lay some flowers down, and then the sun would dye the it could be the fabric or the paper. But just really dainty and delicate little designs into this really massive quilt. This is a beauty. There is just a little wear here. That's I think, I'm sure as we go, actually it's not even wear, it's just that, if you could see, it's just that the dye is gone. Just on that little tiny one. Look at this little dainty little design here. Very sweet. Little clovers in these ones. But to make a quilt, not just to stay warm, but for the beauty of it back in that time, I wonder sometimes if that doesn't say something about their economic status, if it was, I don't know, or maybe not, but it's truly, this one is a stunning quilt. I really do love this one. All right, we're gonna flip it around. I'm gonna show you one more before we call it a morning. You can't, this doesn't even register. It looks like a screen. It is not a screen. Those are very tiny 5/8 and 3/4 triangles in there. This is Birds in the Air, 68 by 76. Oh, look, I can't even, there we go. It wonks off to the left there. I can't even, hold on, I'm gonna back up a little bit. I just want to point out it's level at the top. I can't do anything else about the bottom. 68 by 76 inches, circa 1870, found in Kansas. The story here is, here's another quilt I added to my mom's collection just last year. I had to. I hadn't counted, but let's just say there are tons of right-angled triangles organized into identical tiny squares, each half indigo and half white. Each triangle measures 5/8 by 3/4 inch, entirely handmade. Go ahead and count them. No, I will not count them. I don't have that much time in a day to count all those little squares. I mean, I guess we could do some math, but we're not going to do that this morning. So on opening, when we open a new exhibit in the morning, you get free entrance into the exhibit to take a sneak peek and grab some donut holes and coffee on your commute to work on Tuesday morning. So we had a handful of people come in. We had about maybe 10 come in that morning before we actually opened the museum. I had two people say that this was a sign of mental illness. And I don't think they meant it derogatory. I think they meant it like an OCD or even maybe a autistic, where you just have to get everything, until it's complete. So we are going to take a closer look. These are not squared. That was something I went back and forth on because I thought they were squared. But once you get in there and you look at them, they didn't measure right. I measured a bunch of squares or rectangles to make sure that we were getting the information right. But I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. I'm going to put my gloves back on, and I'm going to take you off the stand, and we're going to take a closer look at these tiny itty bitty triangles. And I'm even going to put my glasses on for this one too. All the same fabric, this polka dotted blue and white fabric, but you can see that it's a little more elongated at the top, and sometimes it doesn't even, the white, you could see the white above the blue on some of these. So maybe they were squared and it's been stretched out over time. But it's a lot. Some people, I've had a couple people say it was hard to look at because it hurts their brain, or it looks like it's spinning. Or, we live in an age where, pixelation, and there's a photograph in all these little shapes, and your brain's trying to make sense of it all. But nope, they're just little, this one almost looks like a little, look like little witches' hats. That guy. But again, all hand piece, and just the tiniest little, no rotary cutters, all by hand. Just really an amazing piece that, she just had to add to her mother's collection. And I really should have showed maybe the back so we could see the detail in the quilting here, because it gets a little lost with all the triangles and the little border here, or binding, sorry. Just a little wear there, but not too, for her age, she looks really good, doesn't she? We joked about how if we made it to, 100 plus, we might be a little misshapen and a little worn. But these are just really, I'm just gonna kind of pan out. And this is Birds in the Air. Whoo! And this one didn't have a title, but it was one that was added. And I'm just gonna give you kind of a little sneak peek of what's to come, of all these other wonderful, what we have in here. Wonderful pieces. The night before I do a video, I think, okay, I'm gonna do this quilt or that quilt. And then I always come in and I never fails. I tend to switch it up and do something different at the last minute. So, all right, I can't wait to share the rest of this collection with you each week. I hope you come back. We're gonna do we've decided, a gal that works here, we're gonna post a block from each of these quilts, one block on a Monday, and you have to guess what the name of the block is. And then on Thursday morning, when I do the Facebook Live, I will reveal the name of the block. So just a little game, just a little to kind of get you engaged and get excited about what's to come each Thursday. So, all right, thanks for joining this morning. I really appreciate you being here and commenting and liking the video and sharing the video. It just really does make a difference. It really helps us out here at the Iowa Quilt Museum. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will be back next week with another wonderful quilt. All right, thank you.